Welcome to Two Gents, where two seasoned gents take on the hard truths of life, success, and responsibility. In a world where the rules don't bend for us, these gents believe in doing the work, owning the struggle, and inspiring others to take action. So, pull up a chair.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Two Gents Podcast. As you can see, I got me and Pastor Riggins out there. You got on that suit that I really like. I like that suit. How you doing, Pastor?
Doing good, Ronnie. What's going on?
Man, it's so much going on in the world today. You loaded me up with videos, and I'm prepared to get into them. I know that you really want to get into them. I'm right there with you. I think that some of the ones that you gave me it's just amazing, man. That one about Michelle Obama really got my attention because I don't know where that's coming from. I really don't. I don't know how it keeps popping up every once in a while.
I'm gonna explain where it's coming from once you show the video.
Okay, you want to show it right now?
And there's one that I sent you, and then I think that
which one you want to start with? Let's figure out which one you want to start.
Do you actually have the one of the guy actually doing it?
Yeah, I do.
Start with that. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Crowd with a shocking statement during the UFC Freedom 250 event on the White House lawn on Sunday. After Okit won his bout against fellow heavyweight Derek Lewis, he said this during his post-match interview with Joe Rogan.
Michelle Obama is a man! Am I right, America?
Some in the crowd could be heard laughing, while others seemed shocked. Rogan did not address the comments, saying only, "Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Okit."
That was it, Pastor.
Sir, what did he say right before that, though?
Oh, I didn't get that part because most of the shows I went to, that was the part that they showed out there. So I didn't really.
If someone was stronger than Hulk Hogan, he loves his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And Michelle Obama is a man. Now here's the deal.
Okay.
I sent you. Let me read what I sent y'all.
You sent me one with a lady that's in the newsroom, and then you sent me one about Pastor Dixon.
Not that. Not videos. Just write up I sent you. I should have sent you this write up. I'm gonna send you a write up right now, Ron. Well, I'm gonna read the write up.
Well, go ahead and read it. It's easy. We're on the air now, so we're good.
In light, this is a guy named Benjamin Creamer. He's a pastor.
Okay.
In light of the dehumanizing comments made by UFC fighter at the White House, calling Michelle Obama a man right after claiming Jesus as his personal savior, I want to unpack a bit of history behind this rhetoric in our country and within American Christianity. A racist trope of calling black women men is a tool of dehumanizing with a long history designed to erase their femininity and womanhood. It's known as misogyny, which is a term coined by black feminist scholar Maria Bailey to describe the unique intersection of anti-black racism and misogyny. This trope serves several specific societal and historical functions. The practice of masculinizing, masculinizing people. I have a speech impediment. I was in speech for 3 years, and that's what I told God. I can't preach like Moses, but it'll come out. What it means of causing a woman to become a man, but I can't pronounce the word particularly. Masculinizing black women is rooted in chattel slavery. Enslavers needed to justify forcing black women to perform the exact same heavy back-breaking field labor as enslaved men. To do this, enslavers and patriotic society argued that black women were not real women, but rather subhuman, masculinized creatures. By framing black women as physically strong and naturally unfeminine, enslavers excused the brutal physical abuse of black women and stripped them of the social protection, grace, and tenderness historically reserved for white women.
Hmm.
This trope also enforces Eurocentric beauty standards. By labeling black women as manly, racist cultural frameworks define traditional femininity and womanhood as something only white women can possess. In this framework, black women's features such as hair texture, facial structure, a body shape are framed as non-feminine or grotesque. This ensures that black women do not compete with white women for societal desirability. This trope is used today to mock prominent black women in the public eye, such as politicians, athletes, and entertainers, and to harass everyday black women for asserting their independence or power. In the history of our country, such rhetoric of white supremacy has tragically been justified by Christians and using the Bible to do so. During the antebellum period, many white Christian leaders and theologians used biblical interpretation of passages like the curse of Ham, that's Noah's son, to justify Atlantic slave trade and the subhuman treatment of black people. By defining Africans as lesser, they supported the narrative black women were beasts of burden rather than women. Christian figures are also historically drawn upon racially coded biblical truths, such as framing and searching independent black women as Jezebel, hypersexualized and wicked, or sapphire, angry and domineering. This theological language often uses delegitimize black women's authority, invalidate their concerns, and incite animosity. The conspiracy theory claiming Michelle Obama is a man is a baseless, transphobic, and racist narrative that originated on far-right internet formed about around 2007-2008, was amplified by prominent political commentators, has been consistently debunked by fact checkers, and historians use public records and childhood photographs. It was pushed into the mainstream by fringe figures like Alex Jones, and notably amplified in 2014 when the late comedian Joan Rivers made crude, unprompted remarks about it to the reporters. The narrative persisted on social media, occasionally flaring up during high-profile events, as we have just seen. As a pastor, this is what Benjamin said. I remember first receiving this vile conspiracy theory as an email fall from someone in my church at the time. It broke my heart. It was not only being made viral over email at the time, being spread by folks I loved in my own church circles rather than composed. We had a long discussion about racism in American Christianity afterwards. Today, we who claim to be followers of Christ should be the first ones to understand the history of this racist rhetoric, and the first ones are not not to perpetuate it. Perpetuate, which means to push it on and to oppose it. May it be so with us. Lord, have mercy. Christ, have mercy. For experts on topics like these, please read Maya Bailey, Bill Hooks, Sojourner Truth, Ibram X, Kendall, Jamar Tisby, Latasha Morrison, Meletta Hale, and James H. Cohn. Please share any other voice you found deeply helpful on these topics in the comments below. And Benjamin Kramer is I don't believe he's an Anglo-American, I believe.
We somehow just lost Pastor Riggins on his feed. He was commenting on that issue with
Benjamin Kramer is a Anglo-American, I believe.
Wow. You know, as I listen to you talking, I think about the post, and I remember recording it, Pastor. One of the things that truly gets me is this. This is not the first time somebody's did that. You remember Trump did that little video and that little cartoon character of Michelle and Obama, and I don't understand why they continue to press that issue, because I don't know if if it makes them feel better, if it makes them feel good, or what it does to them, but I don't see that narrative.
It is what it is, brother. First of all, it's a distraction from what's going on. You losing the war with Iran. You lost the war with Iran. We bombed them away, right? We bombed them away. Now we're going to give them $24 billion that they want and give them $300 billion to rebuild. But you talked about Obama sitting in a plane full of money over there. We lost that war. He just had the war to try to counter what Obama deal had with them, and then his deal come out worse. The order of the deal, he always loses the deal. That's the first thing. Second thing, he's losing the midterms. He want nobody to see how bad he's losing midterms. Third thing is the Epstein files is still on the table. There's about to be some stuff coming out how to use a situation room to deal with it. So any distraction from what's really going on. So see, understand this. If Kamala Harris had been president of the United States as the 250 years approach, it would have been like, wow, a black woman president, and we're celebrating 250 years. Look how long, look where we come from the founding fathers. They couldn't stomach that. If it would have been so, right now we'd be having all type of events honoring women, people of color, people that were alternative lifestyles, because that's what the Democratic Party does. We'd have had all that going on for like maybe 6 weeks or more. But since he won, and his birthday was on Sunday, he makes it into what you would think it would be like. What would an Anglo-American at home want to do? Sit in a man cave and watch UFC. And that's what you got. He sat there at the UFC fights, and this guy comes out and hollers something about somebody stronger than Hulk Hogan. I love my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and Michelle Obama is a man.
You know, that analogy that you just laid out about him sitting in his space, so to speak, just like what I have up here. Mm-hmm. That analogy that you just laid out told a story about a man that probably got paid out of the event when they're on the White House lawn. I'm sure you made some money off of it somehow, some way. We'll never be able to prove it. But
Trump, let me tell you what happened. Trump did this event for Paramount. He approved part of Paramount by buying Discovery Channel. That's what they flew it on. So it was a connection with that. Also, yes, the promoter, Dana White, gave up so many millions of dollars to the Trump campaign of UFC.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The money was all time.
We have to establish that too, Pastor. I agree with you. But you had shared another video, and I don't want to get too far into Trumpism right now. I know we're gonna go there eventually, but not right now. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of drained right now from research. But you want to play your second video, the Dixon video, or the young lady, the news?
Let's go to the news.
Okay, it's coming up.
Former impeachment defense attorney for his opponent, Ken Paxton. Dan Cogdell says Paxton has, quote, lost sight of his core mission, which is to represent the people of Texas, while arguing Tallarico has prioritized, quote, unity over division. Cogdell worked with Paxton for nearly a decade, also defending him against criminal charges. And Dan Cogdell is joining us now. Dan, thank you for taking the time and for putting yourself out there. You donated the maximum amount you could to Paxton's Senate campaign last year, only to later call him a, quote, rubber stamp on President Trump. So how do you explain that dissonance? What changed?
Well, sure. First off, I was on his impeachment team, and I was a lead lawyer in his criminal case. But the Constitution, Anna, requires me to represent him aggressively, ethically, and zealously. I did that. The Constitution does not require me to vote for him or endorse him. So the answer to your question, however, is I really wasn't familiar with Tallarico when I held fundraisers for Ken, and I made the maximum contribution. Since then, I have seen James Tallarico. I have heard him speak. I have met him, and I believe he's focusing on the things that Texans are concerned about. We are number one in school shootings. We are number one in uninsured motorists. We are at the very bottom in education. We are at the very bottom in healthcare. And I haven't seen Ken Paxton mention any of those things in his run-up in this election. I believe James is focusing on those things, and I think those things are important to Texans.
But arguably, you knew Paxton back then, and you still supported his campaign financially. You were one of his biggest defenders, literally, for years when he was indicted for felony securities fraud charges, accused of bribery and abuse of office, impeached by the Texas House for misuse of office to help his friend. His wife filed for divorce from him on biblical grounds, and now you claim he, quote, lost sight of his core mission, which is to represent the people of Texas. Has Ken Paxton actually changed?
You know, I don't know that he's changed. I do know that my feelings about Ken have evolved. They're not binary. They didn't happen overnight. My decision to endorse James was not a quick one. I gave it hard thought because I realized the pushback that I would get. But at the end of the day, my obligation to defend Ken is separate from my obligation to vote for the best person. And I believe the best person is James Tallarico for the reasons that I've discussed.
Do you regret defending Paxton?
Not a bit. I would do it again in a minute. I'm proud of the results that we obtained for Ken, both in the impeachment trial and in the criminal case here in Houston. I'm proud of that work. We did our job. We did it well. And I think those were the right results. But again, the Constitution doesn't require me to vote or endorse him. The Constitution requires me to zealously advocate for him.
Yeah, I understand that. And you are quoted as saying, quote, as a criminal defense lawyer, I wouldn't probably endorse the vast majority of my court were running for Senate. Another lawyer who also represented Paxton in his impeachment says, you're a lifelong Democrat. Would you have voted for Tallarico anyway, do you think?
I don't know. It does bring a smile to my face, Anna, when Tony Busby calls me a lifelong Democrat, because Tony Busby, is kind of a walking Aggie joke to the extent that he calls me a lifelong Democrat, but he ran for office as a Democrat. So I'm not really sure that barb shot at me stings very much, at least in my world.
I guess the question is your vote against Ken Paxton, or is it for Tallarico in the sense, has he earned your vote and your endorsement?
That's a good question. The answer is absolutely he is. I'm not voting against Ken. I'm voting for James. And again, I don't wish Ken any ill will. I don't harbor any resentment for the man. I just think that Tallarico is the better candidate. I think he is focused on the issues that Texans care about, and I think he'll do a good job. It's going to be a heavy lift for him to get there. I get that. We haven't elected a Democratic statewide office holder in 30 plus years, so he's got a hill to climb.
Are you worried about backlash at all from MAGA world, or even retribution from Paxton's orbit? You already have another one of his former impeachment lawyers slamming you as a lifelong Democrat, for example.
Well, I'm not sure if slamming me as a lifelong Democrat is something I care about. But if I was worried about being popular and being the toast of any cocktail party, I chose the wrong profession. This is not a job you get into to be liked if you're going to do it right.
Dan Cogdell, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you offering your perspective.
Hey, Ron.
Yeah,
I
man.
gave you that last week, Ron. I didn't want to bring up Tallarico this week. I'm not going to discuss it.
I'm not talking about him. I already said that I wasn't talking about him. If you gave it to me last week, I didn't know it. I'm not talking about Tallarico this week.
You're right. Yeah, well, I gave you that last week. I gave you two other ones. I just text one back to you personal because you
gave me Reverend Dixon, which was next. You want to play that?
I gave you one called Bread and Circuses, too.
You probably just texted to me.
No. That's earlier. It's earlier, but the one I just texted you is Michelle Obama responding to what they said about her. So you can put that one there. But I gave you one called Bread and Circuses also.
Yeah, I don't know. Have to work with
let me go back and get that Bread and Circuses again, too. And the reason why I call Bread and Circuses is in relation to why they had the UFC fight. And I'm explaining to you, it's a historical name that used to happen back in Rome a long time ago, called Bread and Circuses. Let me see.
Yeah, because I'm at a total loss on that one. And while you're looking for that, I just want to say I had a couple of things that I saved and I wanted to bring up.
Yeah, it's Bread and Circuses. It's when Baron Glass was talking about the jealousy stuff last night, about God being jealous. Mm-hmm. And then this morning, I sent it to y'all at 10 today at 8:47 a.m. this morning on our group text. But I'll send it to you personal right now again, okay?
Yeah, if I'm gonna get it up, you're gonna have to talk for a minute. But I want to play something.
Right. While I'm talking, you can send. These two of them I sent to you. One was Michelle Obama responding to what her talking about her, and then this was called Bread and Circuses.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to see if I can get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So here's what happens. As it relates to what you said, what are Bread and Circuses? Well, the lady's going to explain it to us in the video once Ron gets it. Here's the deal. during the time of Rome, you had what you call very influential rich people that was running the country. It was called a democracy. You had senators, you voted, but your leader was a dictator like Augustus Caesar or Julius Caesar. And all these senators were voted in by their people, but they had to be very rich and they had a whole lot of power. And so you had an upper class of people dominating the lower class of people. And that's what Trump and them are trying to do. They want the American Republic not to be so much a democracy, but to be what you call an oligarch. An oligarch is what Russia has. You can go and have voting and all this stuff, but the voting results are never going to come out right. And the people with the most money, most power, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon, and the Washington Post, and a list of other rich people in power positions, people who are making these deals about these TV companies and control the media and all this. They want to have all the power and all the money. And then the everyday average man and woman like you and I, we're on the bottom suffering. We're suffering economically. We're suffering culturally. We're suffering socially. Our rights are being taken away from us. Our voting power is being lacking, everything. And what they would do is have what you call bread and circuses to get the attention off of what was going on. They would give people out free food, bread, long lines of bread. Doesn't that sound something like our welfare system? Or they give us a bone. They give us stuff that we want. Like, here's a shiny object. Don't you like this? But the circuses was the main thing. The circuses was where the gladiators came. They would put the people in the cages or in these big old arenas, and they would go there and watch them fight each other to death, fight animals, all this kind of stuff. Have chariot races in there where they were fighting, kill each other, bread and circuses. So guess what? What Trump tries to do is use entertainment, UFC, getting involved in all this stuff about sports. He ran for a long time the Miss American pageant and all this kind of stuff, or Miss Universe or whatever one of them he's involved in. It's like, can I get your attention away from what you're really suffering with and let you come watch the UFC fights and streaming worldwide? And look at this big documentary about my wife, Melania Trump, and put your attention on that. Oh, look at this over there. Let's get involved with. Let me go to the NBA finals and make a spectacle of myself. It's called bread and circuses. What can I entertain the American people with to keep their minds off of what's really going on? What can I distract them with and get them all riled up and arguing and discussing about, and not have their minds focused on what I'm really doing, while I'm stealing, while I'm taking away from the government, while I'm running over people's rights? How can I entertain them with bread and circuses? And that's what the whole concept is. And the lady that I got a video of it's like a history teacher that studied that stuff about Rome and shows how Trump and them are doing it today. I don't know if Ron was able to get it up yet or not.
No, Pastor, because what happens if I don't get it up early, it takes away from the audio of the show, because I have to have it early to bring it up. So on that particular one, I'm not going to be able to bring it up. I tried to share it on my screen in the background, but it needs a sound in order to operate. On my end, I have other stuff connected to my sound to go out, for your sound to come through my system and go out. So I can't switch the sound mechanism over.
Right.
The only thing that you remember when we used to do videos, and the only thing that we would see was the videos, and I was wondering how come I couldn't get it up. Unless I save it ahead of time, I can't do it. So you might have to. Let me see if it might be able to do something here, because we can hear it. If I go to my telephone and play it.
Yeah. Try to see. Let me see if I can try to get it up and see what you can do. Let me see if I can get it up.
Yeah, try to share, because you're using the same mic.
I might try to share my screen. Let me see.
Yeah, and then I'll just drop back in the background and let you share your microphone.
Let me see what we can do.
You know, it's a lot. It's funny how our government and then people that's in office right now still are attacking Michelle Obama and President Obama like they was in office. Now, I'm not saying that they're perfect, but I'm just saying that it's still an issue out there. And as we get further along into this, I don't know where we go from this because people don't have a reason to attack them. They not as big a political figure as it was, and Trump has a personal vendetta. It seems like against Barack Obama. And I don't know why he still holds that grudge because President Obama can't run for office unless Trump run for office again. Trump can't run for office because his popularity is not there. But we somehow, as Americans, as people, we got to realize, and not only us. When I say us, I'm talking about black people in particular this time, but we need to have a couple other people come on our side and realize that Trump doesn't have the power that he once did. He's basically lied. He's cheated. He's got to a point where he's not respected around the world, and that's part of the reason why he's in the situation that he's in. I don't know if Pastor is still working on it, but
I'm trying to.
while
Yeah.
he's doing that, what I'm gonna do, Pastor, I'm gonna play one of my videos so I can get something out there I want to say also before we get into John Dixon that's relevant. So if
All
it
right.
comes up, let me know.
Okay.
And black people in the state have gone to early vote for the June 27th Senate primary runoff. Let's get into the numbers. Acadia Parish had 39 black people go to early vote. There's 3,592 black people in Acadia Parish that can go early vote. Ascension Parish had 374 black people to go early vote. There's 20,000 black people that are registered to vote in Ascension Parish that can go early vote. Bossier Parish had 172 black people go early vote. There's 13,449 black people in Bossier that can go early vote. Calcasieu, where Lake Charles is, 259 black people have gone to early vote. There's 30,193 of you that can go early vote. Caddo Parish, where Shreveport is, 743 black people have gone to early vote in Caddo Parish. There's 71,110 black people that can still go early vote in Caddo Parish. East Baton Rouge Parish, where we have the Council on Aging tax renewal and the library tax. If you want the elderly to be getting their Meals on Wheels and the libraries to stay open, I think you would want to go vote. But there's 2,198 black people that have gone to early vote. There's 126,586 black people in East Baton Rouge Parish that can go early vote.
The reason why I brought that up is because we did a show about people that register to vote and people that actually vote. And this is early voting in Louisiana. And Gary's making a good point. If you listen to the numbers that he was talking about that's eligible to vote, the numbers in some cases for black voters is like 10 times the amount that's already voted. And the turnout is low. And it's a lot of things, a lot of stuff that's going on in Louisiana. I wanted Byron to be on tonight, but there's a lot of stuff that's going on in Louisiana that we should be paying attention to. I just want to say that we go through life and we always wonder why, and we ask the question at the end, but why are we not doing enough up front to persuade that situation to change? Why do we not get in there and jump in their feet first and make sure that the outcome is like we want it? Because if you don't vote, you don't really have a voice.
My fault.
Huh?
My fault.
No, it wasn't your fault. There's nothing wrong.
Yeah, I'm trying to get I don't know if you can hear the Obama thing.
No, I can't hear it.
Okay.
But I can do this. Let me try to get this up so y'all can hear it because Pastor really wants y'all to hear it. So just hold on just a minute. I'm gonna let y'all hear it.
Let's be very clear, strong men, men who are truly role models, don't need to put down women to make themselves feel powerful.
I don't know if he likes that.
People who are truly strong lift others up. People who are truly powerful bring others together. Because let's be very clear, strong men Strong men, men who are truly role models, don't need to put down women to make themselves feel powerful. People who are truly strong lift others up. People who are truly powerful bring others together. Because let's be very clear, strong men, men who are truly role models, don't need to put down women to make themselves feel powerful. People who are truly strong lift others up.
Yes, sir.
People who
Say
are
your
truly
words.
powerful bring
Yes.
others together. Because let's be very
You want-
clear, strong
You can
men,
pause. I can
men
pause
who
it.
are truly role models,
You can pause it.
don't need to put down women to make themselves feel powerful.
Yes, sir. So what I'm saying is, of course, she'd already made that speech beforehand, but people are using it as a response to what she already stands on. The people talk, men putting women down.
Mm-hmm.
Trump has always put women down, and now he has a group of people around him doing it, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yes,
You want to hear this other one that you had?
yes sir. Bread and services. Yes, sir. Go
Let me
ahead
see
now.
if this.
Yeah.
The Romans had a saying.
Go ahead. It's
I'm
on
trying.
Instagram. That's why I couldn't bring it up. It's on Instagram.
Yeah.
Give the people bread and circuses, and they will never ask questions. Gladiators in the Colosseum, emperors in box seats, senators got richer while citizens got spectacle as the empire rotted from the inside. Sound familiar? Because on Trump's 80th birthday, people are expected to crowd the South Lawn of the White House for a UFC fight. Not for a state dinner, not for a policy address, for a cage match. And they're not just holding it there. The fighters are walking to the octagon from the Oval Office. The Oval Office. Here's what is so rich about this spectacle. While they party on the lawn, billionaires are getting tax cuts, Medicaid is getting gutted, and voting rights are being dismantled, all while Americans are rationing medication, skipping meals, and praying they don't lose their jobs before they lose their homes. The circus is loud on purpose, and the corruption, oh, it's quiet on purpose. History did not warn us about Rome so we could admire the architecture. It warned us so we'd recognize the pattern. See, Rome did not fall in a single day. It was hollowed out, slowly, quietly, deliberately degraded, institution by institution, norm by norm, spectacle by spectacle. The seat of power became the stage. Governance became performance, and the crowd kept cheering. We are days away from fighters throwing punches 30 feet from the room where the Constitution lives. To me, this feels like the final act of an empire that has not figured out yet that it's already in decline. The last citizens of Rome never knew they were the last. So let me ask you, are you watching the fight or are you actively participating in the collapse? 92%.
Yeah. So there we go. There
You
you go.
know, my commentary on that is basically this: we're starting to expect too much from Trump when we know where he's coming from. I think that Trump is like you said, he's hiding. He's using deceitful tactics to take the distraction away from where he's actually at. And as people, we need to realize what he's doing, and we need to understand that he's not hiding, he's not running. He's actually putting stuff right in your face to distract from what's actually happening in America. We all know the gas prices are up. We all know that the bread prices are up. We know the eggs costing more. We know it's costing more it's costing more for us to live and do more, but they're not raising our income. And just think about the people that's living off of social security out there, and think about the people that's basically living on a fixed income. They're doing the best they can with what they have, but their dollars are not stretching. They're having to make choices, like the lady said, on what their life is like. They're having to make choices, and it's not easy, Pastor. It's not getting easier either. And I don't see why we got this feel good story about a fight on the lawn when we got a country and people that's almost losing their life in a war that you kept on evolving through the process, that you kept on extending, that you kept on trying to. What you're really trying to do is get it out of the way before the midterms come around, so you can kind of look good. Hopefully your numbers go up, but you put us in that war. You had a choice whether or not you want to go to Iran. You got over there and realized that they could play just as good as you.
Yeah, and guess what? He's giving up more than Obama giving up. $24 billion back to him. We don't know when they're going to decrease the enriched uranium. And now we got to give them $300 billion to rebuild their country that we destroyed.
The thing, Pastor, the thing about that, if they're not giving up, you say something correctly. The thing about that negotiation that he did, if they're not giving up the uranium, or as he called it, nuclear dust, if they're not giving it up, why did we go in there?
He went in there because he didn't want. See, remember, the first thing he did when he got in office the first term was to tear up the deal that Obama had. Anything Obama did, he says, is wrong. Even though it was a good deal, he didn't want to keep it because Obama made it. Once he tore up that deal, he now didn't have a deal, and now Iran was now running around making the nuclear weapons. And now he can't stop him. He should never tore up the deal.
My thing is this, Pastor. The nuclear weapons didn't come up overnight.
Right.
And I can tell you that everybody's saying that the first part of Obama's deal was weak in the beginning because he never took control of the nuclear weapons that was there. He never told them that they couldn't develop them. He never took anything out of their hands. So that's the only weak part that was in the deal. Everybody else said the deal was okay, but then he didn't empower people to go in and inspect it. They had to give them warnings. They had to come in writing. They had to do all the rest of that stuff. So as far as the nuclear part, I think Trump is getting a better deal if he gets them to give up the uranium dust or whatever, however Trump called it. But if he doesn't get them to do that, he went in there with no purpose. He just went in there to support Netanyahu's theory that there was a war going on right there.
No. He cannot verify. He says it'll be a time of whenever they decide of what they want to do about the uranium dust. And what he's saying is, I couldn't get him to give it up, but he don't want to say those words. This war, if they're not, the war was to protect Netanyahu from criminal charges and to distract us from the Epstein files.
And I'm gonna say this, and I want to lean in when I say this, if he's not getting the nuclear weapons or their potential to make weapons out there and export them out before he signs this contract, this was a waste. Now, I'm like Pastor now. At this point, based on if he's not getting access to them and he's signing the deal, we're going to be right back here in a couple of years because they're going to continue doing what they're doing. And if they did it on Obama's watch, what makes you think that they're going to honor anything that Trump signs that doesn't end with them giving away nuclear weapons right now?
They're not going to do that.
Because it's not. Go ahead.
The European allies are already saying that the deal is weak, but they're glad that Trump stopped fighting. See, Trump always give you what, like, okay, I can never get it done, but at least I'm not doing this. At least we're not fighting no more, but I couldn't get the job done. But he's a loser. Trump is never a winner. He always says he's a winner, but he's never a winner. Never.
Yeah, and I agree with you in theory, but if he can get those nuclear weapons under control or anything like that, and before he signs this deal, now I'm gonna specify this because it needs to be in place before he signs this deal. He needs to have access to inspect them at any time. He needs to have them out of their country. Now, if they're not agreeing to that, I'm gonna tell you, we went to war for no reason at all. We basically just went over there to show up and drop a couple bombs and go home because that doesn't serve any purpose. That what it does is it takes away from those people that lost their lives, even in the other countries around Iran that wasn't involved in the conflict. It makes them, their lives that were lost, it makes them useless. Everything that happens, it doesn't have a point if he doesn't get the uranium dust, as Trump calls it, out of there. So he can say whatever you want to say, but all those lives that he lost, all those ships, all that gasoline that he burned in those ships, all those ships that was sitting out there, all them soldiers that he sent over there, all them airplanes that showed up, all of that stuff was irrelevant because it basically stopped when he called a ceasefire, and he still ain't got nothing for it.
Ron, I'm gonna tell you right now, he's not gonna get the dust. So I like the way you're putting it. I like what you're saying. You're educating the public about it. But Trump not gonna get the dust. See, let me tell you what. He didn't use the situation room for the war. That's when you're supposed to use the situation room. He said, let Hess do whatever he wanted to do, like he was playing a video game. The situation room was used for Epstein files. Let me say it again. They use the situation room to decide what they're going to do about the Epstein files because it's top secret room, and they still got stuff leaked out of it. There's going to be some books written about it. He's mad right now because the people leaked out of the situation room all the meetings about the Epstein file and they're about to put it in books. But for us, the war, when you're supposed to use the situation room, never used it. Because the war was a fake war. The war was stupid. The war was a distraction. The war was not even a real war. And yes, it happened for real. Yes, people's lives were lost. But Trump doesn't care.
Pastor, I'm gonna say this, and I know it's gonna sound harsh, but I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna explain it. I don't give a hoot about no Epstein files if he don't get the nuclear capability away from him out of there. Because what happens is if they develop a weapon with the temperament that they showed, that Iran has shown, they're gonna use that weapon on somebody over there. And you know what happens when they use that weapon, a nuclear weapon? You know that dust, that Saharan dust that they always talking about in the weather. What do you think? What area of the world do you think it happens to make it all the way back to the United States? Mm-hmm. Is that area? So if if they have the ability to use it, and on one of their neighbors, it's coming back here anyway. So, sometimes you told me this before. Sometimes you got to pick. What kind of choice you have to make?
Choose the lesser evil. Lesser two evils. I'm telling you, Ron, I'm agreeing with everything you're saying, and you're right because he's not gonna get what you want him to get. Trump is not gonna get that.
It don't have nothing to do with.
He wants to water in to try to get his numbers up to try to win the midterms or try to get closer to winning the He didn't get what he wanted. And he's going to give him $24 billion. And he's going to give him $300 million to rebuild. And he still didn't get what he wanted.
Pastor, I'm going to say this. And I know that maybe none of y'all have trained in a nuclear weapon explosion and how it goes and the lives that are lost around it. I'm going to tell you, all that stuff that we're talking about, it don't matter. If we don't get that nuclear stuff out of Iran, if we don't get it transported out of Iran, those same people that bombed other people, how radical do you think they're going to be in that nuclear stuff? That's the reason why I say, Pastor, I know it. I know what you're saying, but I'm telling you, it's more important to get the stuff out. And I'm telling you the reason why, because it's not going to just affect them. It's going to affect the whole world if he doesn't do it.
He did it the wrong way. He went fought them. They're not going to give it up. He should have never fought them. You remember, first of all, just like he can't get it from North Korea. They're closer than Iran to us. They can come all the way back like Japan did off Hawaii and come from that way and bomb us.
But you know what he did? You know the difference, Pastor? Mm-hmm. North Korea going to stay in their spot.
Because
But
why?
ain't nothing going. Just a minute, ain't nothing gonna kick him, or it ain't no Netanyahu over there kicking stones or whatever. But I'm telling you, the use of a nuclear weapon will make it to the United States. People will die.
Yeah, I know. Let me tell you something.
So if
You
we
remember,
don't address that
you
issue,
remember,
we
you
just
remember the
we just
story? You remember the story about the man who had the coat on, right? And the storm and the wind was fighting with the sun about who could make the man take the coat off. And the storm blew real hard and the wind blew real hard. And the man just kept on tightening up in the coat harder and harder. And the rain was coming and everything. The sun says, my turn. And the sun just shined so peacefully and made it so hot. The man came off the coat. That's a little thing, that's a little story to tell little kids. What they were saying was, it's better to appease and work with someone to get what you want than try to force them to get what you want. That war was to try to force them, and they're not going to do it. What you're saying is right. I'm agreeing with you, and I'm saying that's why we're in trouble, because Trump did it wrong. He went and had a war, and now he can't get what he wanted. He can't get the dust.
He can get what he wanted, but he just has to go about it a different way. What he needs to do is commit to something and stick to it. Because if he, and I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not a warmonger, but if a person has a nuclear weapon and they're not going to commit to giving it to you, you have to force their hand to give it to you. Because if they don't, based on their current, how they deal with conflicts with other people, they don't give a darn about nobody else. Because when that bomb goes off, everybody suffers. If you don't believe me, Pastor, I just want to say this. If you don't believe me, I just watched something on Dubai not too long ago, right across the ocean, right across that little Strait of Hormuz from where they at. Dubai was one of the major places that everybody that had money went to. Dubai made so much money on tourism. Do you know what those cities look like? I've not seen it for myself on videos and stuff. It ain't nobody there because they scared of them bombs coming from Iran to drop on that city. They're scared. So you got a whole big city that's there that's afraid of Iran dropping bombs on them. What do you think that's going to, if anything happens over there, what do you think the next issue they're going to do if they get the opportunity to do it?
Over here. But Ron, I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying this is what Trump did wrong.
I know you're agreeing with me, but you're trying to put the issue on Trump. If Trump don't get it done, Pastor, you know what? It doesn't make sense. We
Trump
put ourselves.
Okay, Ron, if you and I are arguing, right? Like you and I are mad. I'm not talking about Tallarico and them. I'm talking you and I want to fight. We don't like each other, enemies, right? We at a party somewhere. We at a grocery store. We at a gas station. No, I don't think we're gonna be in a club somewhere. And we decide to fight. If I pull my pistol on you, what should I do?
Pastor.
No, I'm asking you. No, we're talking. If I pull my pistol on you, what should I do?
If you pull it, you got to shoot it.
Because if I don't
shoot it, if you ain't gonna shoot it, it doesn't serve no purpose.
If I pull my pistol on you, and if I don't shoot you, what you gonna do?
If I get to mine, I'm gonna pull mine out because I'm scared that you're gonna shoot me. We're gonna be pulling some triggers.
That's what Trump did. He let Netanyahu talk him into pulling out his guns, our missiles, our bombs on Iran. He pulled it, he did it, but he don't want to finish his job. That's what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. My point of view is
yeah, you're right. That's what I'm saying. But here's what I'm saying. If you start something, start something, and if you had somebody that was advising you that was in the right place, you would have never stopped until you got what you wanted. You would have never put the brakes on.
Right. No, if you did the right from the beginning and went in there trying to talk peace to get the stuff and should have never pulled a gun. If me and you arguing at that party, let me back up now. And we got to that level where we feel like we're about to fight or shoot each other. One of us got to have enough sense to think about we got children, grandchildren, we got a family at home, we got business, we got a life to live. Ron, I'm not going to agree with you. I don't like you. You don't like me. I'm going to respect you, respect me. You stay out of my way, I'm going to stay out of your way. right? Because we want
I agree with that.
alive, right?
I agree with what you're saying, Pastor. But
That's what
here's
he didn't do. He didn't do that. Instead of him, because he was worrying about Obama, he tore up the agreement. And then Netanyahu said, "Well, let's go ahead on and go fight." They went in there to go fight, and they pulled the guns out. And now, guess what? You're right. Now he don't want to finish it, and now we're gonna be in trouble because he don't finish it right and don't get that stuff out of there. We're gonna all be in trouble. He should have never went in there. That's what I'm saying.
And I'm not disagreeing with you. Here's where I'm at. I'm not disagreeing with you, Pastor, but here's where I'm at. You started something. You'll let somebody advise you on going in there. You followed whoever put you in that situation, but you got to finish. I'm not the president, but if you don't finish and you don't get anything other than those nuclear weapons out of there, I don't care about the money. The money don't mean nothing. The only thing that can get back here to the United States is that nuclear weapon, if he decides to use it, or whoever decides to use it, because they don't even have one direct power, link of power in that country right now. And he killed the one that probably had the most power. He killed the second one that we haven't seen forever. You might as well say he's dead too. And the military is taking over. So the military people are fighting among each other. That's why I don't understand when he says who he agreeing with to get an understanding.
That's why when Christopher Welker was interviewing him, he couldn't answer the questions because he don't know who he's making a deal with.
He don't. He's not even in negotiations. Yeah. The people that he got representing him ain't negotiators, normal negotiators for the United States. The people that went in that negotiated the deal when Obama was there, they came out with a deal, and you understood what they were trying to do and where they was going. In this situation, that's nothing. But I tell you what is at the end of it, if they're able to keep that nuclear weapon and whatever they got and develop it, we better get ready.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
We better get ready because I'm gonna tell you,
we stood up a bunch of hornets' nests and stood up a bunch of ants, and we didn't kill them. They're gonna come back and get us.
The thing that gets me the most about this, if you look at the weather, remember this path. It's a Sierran dust, they call it. Mm-hmm. It comes to Houston every year, and it's gray out there. Mm-hmm. Nuclear dust travels the same way.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you. So if you listening to us and you sitting there and you hesitating about him getting those weapons out of there and using as Malcolm X say, by all means necessary to get them out of there, it needs to happen. It needs to happen. Pastor, I don't know if you're ready for Dixon yet.
Yeah. Let's talk about Juneteenth.
Yeah.
Juneteenth, June 19th is this Friday.
Juneteenth parade, standing in front of the Greater Zion Baptist Church. I just want to talk about the churches of Acres Home for just a minute, because when you talk about Acres Home, the 4-4 and Juneteenth, you got to understand that when I was a kid, Acres Homes were not even incorporated yet, right? And to see the fact that this at one time was the largest Black community in the southwest part of the United States of America. It's called Acres Homes for a reason, because the land allotments was an acre or more, right? So this area in Acres Homes, we're talking about where there were like little farms and people, ranchers, people grew their own vegetations, and the whole ecosystem of Acres Homes was so self-existent and self-supportive. From doctors to dentists to lawyers to accountants, schools, every education, entrepreneurship, healthcare was all happening right here in Acres Homes community in the 4-4. I don't think people realize how amazingly powerful our unification really was and still should be. But that's the kind of stuff that got destroyed when you start about integration and then gentrification. Instead of that, integration and then gentrification, but it all was also impacted by, watch this now, the deconcentration of resources, meaning that when school districts and government stopped investing in the infrastructure in inner city communities, it causes now the infrastructure to become dilapidated. Watch this, follow the Asians, right? So it's a unification that's powerful. And then there is, watch this now, deconcentration of resources that leads to a decomposition of the infrastructure, which means now that you have people here looking for somewhere to go. Add to that the whole movement toward mass incarceration. All right. All of the laws and policies that were passed in order to create unequal systems, inequality in the justice system. So now you got mass incarceration on the top of the deconcentration that now ushered in gentrification. And that's all a part of the fact that Acres Homes community, one of the most valuable communities, most valuable land in the entire city of Houston, is now being gentrified. I'm calling for a vision and action for us to come home. That's what it's all about. Just come home, right? Because we are akin to the soil. Get that? We are akin to the soil. The blood, sweat, and tears of people like Reverend Dr. S.B. Parker, Reverend F.N. Williams. I can start calling all the names of the pastors. And then Beulah Shepherd, all the names, Sylvester Turner. And way back before then, M.C. Williams, Reverend M.C. Williams, from whom the street and the school is named. Ruby Mosley, so many patriarchs and matriarchs who made Acres Homes great. I remember the pharmacy on the corner of West Montgomery and Ludwig. I remember the fish market, Marie's. Listen, I grew up understanding that there was an ecosystem that lifted all of us together. And I'm saying, if we readapt that spirit, bring your vision, your passion home, because your roots are kin to the soil in the 4-4. Hey, we are here.
Now let's talk about this.
Pastor, before we talk about this, I know it's a listener, a loyal listener out there. She grew up in the Acres Home area. I know her chest is sticking out so proud. I know she's standing up saying, yeah, I know where all that stuff is too. I'm just telling you, Pastor, she is definitely from the Acres Homes, and she's proud of where she's from. I wish she would make a comment, because I'm just telling you, I know her pride is there. Come on, Pastor.
Yeah, my horses have been Acres Home for the last 3 years, and the school district got me in. We serve Acres Home area. Now, Bishop James Dixon, if everyone else watching, if you're watching from across, he's a pastor of one of the largest churches in the Acres Home area on Pinemont, called the Community of Faith. He's been pastoring since he was 18 years old. He's in his 60s now. He took his grandfather's church, 18 years old. He is the president of the NAACP in Houston right now. He's the chairman of the Sports Authority of Harris County. I know him as a friend. I know him as a trail rider together, and a co-worker, a pastor. I go and attend his conventions in August this year, in which he has Kingdom's conference. So he's just not talking. He's living that. He's living it. You heard everything he said. The concern that he has, and I've been on, like when Hillary Clinton was running, he put together a nationwide pastors line. Came on with thousands of pastors. When Kamala Harris was running, we came on, and Jasmine Crockett was involved. Freddie Haynes III, Jasmine Crockett's pastor, I've met him there with Dixon. I met him other places too. Jasmine Crockett showed up a couple years ago at Dixon's conference with Freddie Haynes. This whole concept of Juneteenth has been more than just a history lesson, has been more than just a memory. Juneteenth has to be a motivating factor of rebuilding who we are. That's what he's saying. When you go to Acres Home, there's a sign that says Acres Homes, Texas. It's like it's saying it's a city within the city. 44 acres and a mule was the concept. It's more than 44 acres. Because every person was supposed to have an acre, right? But then it's just got split up in so many lots. But the concept was 44 acres and a mule, 40 acres and a mule. It says there's 44 acres out there. Acres Home is known for crime. It's known for, if you drive through there, how people have not kept up the properties. I remember ever since 2011, I used to keep my horses out there before I left for about 10 years. Came back, 12 years. Trash will be in different places, in different areas, in the alleys, certain streets. Don't let a storm come through like Harvey or Beryl. It takes about 3 years to clean up the place. But it's something that African Americans own, that has history, has value to it, has pride in it. If we can not let it be gentrified. Now, what they're doing now is building all those duplexes, buying people land from them and building all those, and those things going up for $300,000 a piece.
If not more.
Not more, pushing us out, pushing Black people out of there. Like they push them out the Heights, like they're trying to push them out of Third Ward.
You know, as I listen to you talk, Pastor, and I got some stories about Acres Homes myself. We used to have an uncle, used to call him Uncle Johnny. Mm-hmm. I could tell you almost how to get there. But the one thing about Uncle Johnny had pigs and he had collard greens. He did pigs and collard greens. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he had some of the biggest collard greens that you ever want to see. And he raised them on his property when he was there. The house was there, and he had big pigs out there. And we used to go out there and just sit there and watch them pigs while Mama and him would go get those collard greens from over there at his field. He was actually a cousin to one of my mama's relatives, but since he was older than everybody else, we call him Uncle Johnny. So I remember going into Acres Homes to do that. And then my mama had relatives that lived in Acres Homes too. And you know, when you think about it, when I used to go there, it wasn't like what you just described. Those people would take pride in their property. They would upkeep their property because it was a group of Black people. And if you go, and you're right, if you go back and Google the history of Acres Homes, you would know that they actually take, I think it's Route 44, because I remember them saying it on the trail ride. They actually send a bus out to Acres Homes to pick up those people to come back into River Oaks to go work in those white people houses and then go back to Acres Homes. That was a bus route. 44 was a bus route that they used to use.
It's on a bus, it's on Metro.
Yeah.
Montgomery, it says 44 on there.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Mm-hmm. They use that bus to bring people, Black people from Acres Homes to go work in those white people houses in downtown. But Acres Home wasn't a part of Houston. Acres Home had their own bus route to do that. So I'm just telling you throughout time that when we look at Acres Homes, we need to realize there was a purpose for it. And it wasn't like any other place that was in Houston. You had Third Ward, but in Third Ward, probably during the time when they was transporting out of Acres Homes, it was a lot of Jewish people that lived in Third Ward at that time. It wasn't a lot of us. We didn't start coming in until the Jewish people moved out of Third Ward, but in Acres Homes, there's always been Black people out there. And they had their own funeral homes, they had stores, pharmacy they call, because I know my friend was like, no,
breaking up.
That's what they saying. Right, Pastor. Acres Homes represented what Blacks were in the Houston area.
Paradise South Cemetery. I mean, Paradise North.
Yeah.
Because Paradise
North.
Paradise South is in Pearland.
Yes.
Paradise North is in Acres Home.
And probably everybody that's from Houston got somebody buried in Paradise North.
Yes, sir.
Everybody, because that's where anybody that passed away,
yes, sir,
that's where they were buried at. It wasn't no Pearland South. That didn't come to after I left from Houston and came back. So I know it had to be around the late 80s, 70s that they came out here to Paradise South over here where Pearland is. But I'm just saying, anybody that has anybody, if I'm right, I could be wrong, but I even think that guitarist named Johnny Guitar Watson is buried in Paradise North. If I'm right,
Probably is.
yeah. So here's my James Dixon story, Pastor. I know you told yours, but I'm gonna tell mine. They used to have this big thing out where they brought in all these bands and stuff like that at the racetrack out there. And before they got started with what we call the real music, because I was a little bit younger, you know, they had the religious. They brought in all of the choirs and all the rest of that, and they would sing all the way up until about 11 or 12 o'clock at that track, because it was going to change. It was a Magic 102 sponsored event. Now, James Dixon's story was, I went out there and I took my RV out there. I was set up on the parking lot, had my barbecue pit going, had food in the RV and everything. And this man came out. Let me tell you what he did. We were drinking. I ain't gonna sit here and tell no lie. We had our drinks and everything. He had a group of people that was walking with him out of the thing, and he saw the RV in the parking lot. He came over there and he sit right there. He sit right down in the chairs that we had. As a matter of fact, we fed him. We gave him stuff out of the RV. He went up into the RV. He looked around, and we were sitting there, and we were talking to him just like I'm talking to you on this air right now. Mm-hmm. He's just that type person. He doesn't put on. If you see him, unless he says I'm Reverend James Dixon, you wouldn't even know who he was, because he'll walk right up to you and stand there and talk to you and never identify who he was. And I kept on seeing, because people kept on coming back. What got me to wondering was that people kept on coming back to get him, say, come on. He said, no, I'm not ready to go. I'm gonna sit here for a little while. That's when I got respect for him.
You know why? I found out why. Because he trail rides, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been trail riding since he was 9 years old.
Oh, I didn't know all of that.
Yeah, right. So how I met Dixon was two ways. George Nelson, George Nelson Sr. used to be on.
Yeah, I remember him. Mm-hmm.
Well, George Nelson Jr., you remember him? He used to be with us on our Blog Talk radio shows. Yeah. And he passed away during the COVID.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Oh, man. That was the biggest lick of me during COVID. Because George Nelson and I were like this.
Yeah, I know. Because we used to do shows all the time.
When I talked about the things I did out there, civil rights activists,
mm-hmm.
Changing the school system and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And my church was the headquarters. I was the youngest pastor out there. Guess who was over there every Monday who was running it with me? George Nelson Jr.
So let me ask you a question, because George Nelson that used to come on the air was George Nelson Jr.,
yes,
not the George Nelson that's on Facebook right now, that shows up every once in a while.
No, his stuff will still show up because his page still there.
Okay.
But his dad was the one that used to walk. His dad was the one marched with Martin Luther King Jr.
Okay. Because I remember George Nelson, because I remember some of the stuff he used to fight for. I remember how he used to advocate for anybody. And he would tell you straight up, he said, when you come to Brenham, you better be prepared, because he was the one that introduced us to Brenham, Texas. When you was telling us how it was, he basically backed up everything that you said,
You know why? I was there before him. See,
Mm-hmm.
I was there. He came out there. See, he come out from under Dixon. He was one of Dixon. Dixon married him and his wife. He became a believer under Dixon, became a deacon, became a minister, became a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time he came out to Brenham, Dixon was a bishop, and George Nelson was in a running to be a bishop. He was called an overseer at the time. And I got out to Brenham in 92. Nelson showed up around about like 93 or 94, right behind me.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, because it's another connection to Dixon that my sister went to Dixon for years. She went to that church, my sister-in-law.
Yeah, right.
That was a church. They went they were Dixons. They Reverend Dixon.
So what happened was I have that. You know, I have that. The thing you came to last time. One of the pastors, right? So the second one, George Nelson was in my inaugural class. A pastor that I honored the Excellent Pastoral Ministry Awards.
Yeah.
He was one of the founders of that with me because he was in my inaugural class.
Okay.
My second or third one that I did, we honored Dixon.
Oh, okay.
Dixon didn't know me from nobody. I had a church of maybe 20, 25 people, but I was correlating in coalition with George Nelson and all these other guys. He showed up to the deal. We gave him an award and he cried like a baby because he was so humble that I was not the Image Awards. I was not, NAACP Awards. I was not, some big thing on TV. I was just we were just an everyday normal church, recognizing the work that he did and the fact that his son in the ministry, George Nelson, was part of it. And next thing you knew, the trail ride came up. And Nelson and Dixon, who hadn't been back for years, because Murders Dykeman Jr. was his buddy growing up, going on a trail ride together as teenagers.
I know Murders too.
Yeah. He came out there, man. And what he did, he jumped, and because the trail ride would come to his church on Thursday night to camp out, to go to the park the next day. He jumped on a horse on Friday, put his son on a horse. I met his son 11 years old. Now his son is a ministry in his church now. If Dixon didn't have a horse, he used one of my horses. And all week long, I'm the chaplain. But when Friday and Saturday came, they let Dixon take over the chaplain stuff. And when we go downtown, I would be at the front and we ride 3 or 4 across. I can ride with Dixon and George, Murders Dykeman Jr. them all down front with Dixon downtown. It's Everyday Man Trail Ride.
And in case y'all don't know, he's calling out some names that's got a lot of history here in Texas. Most people don't know who Murders Dykeman is, but his father is in almost every Black Cowboy book that there is. As a matter of fact, they just did a series not too long. I forgot what station or what channel it was on Murders Dykeman Sr. Yeah. He was one of the first bull riders to win the national competition right here in Crockett, Texas. But they wouldn't let him ride during the regular time. He had to ride after the show was over. And they still gave him the accreditation for it. In Crockett, Texas, if you go outside the arena out there, he has a bronze statue out there with Murders Dykeman Sr. on it.
He made it to the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he's in there.
Like 68. He had to go through the back door all the time. And I was blessed to meet him, and he's still with us. I met before he stopped getting around a lot. He used to come out to trail ride. He was one of the founders of the Prairie View Trail Riders.
Yeah, he is. I can't think of the other. As a matter of fact, we had Anthony Bruno on here, and Anthony Bruno broke down their history of Murders Dykeman Sr. and the people that was. It was a doctor. It was a doctor that was at Prairie View, and how they got that trail ride started. And yeah, you're right. There's a lot of history that we haven't heard in a while, but it's still there. We still have access to it. As a matter of fact, one of these days I'm gonna get Anthony Bruno on if I can persuade him to come on.
We'll get Murders Dykeman on, man. We'll get Murders Dykeman on. I've had him on before on my shows.
He's been on here. He's been on when we were Blog Talk Radio. He's been on there. Murder says, as a matter of fact, they had this group that I was trying to get on almost every week. Is the youth organization, 7 something. I forgot what
7 Youth, 7 W.
Yeah, 7 that group. I was trying to get them on.
Yeah.
So
I went to bunch, but 7 W is another one of the wagons with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, those kids, from what they were doing at that time, they set up their own wagon. They trained them how to do everything. They basically took them through horsemanship and everything like that. And they actually, it was a program that they had in place. But that brings up what we always talk about, Pastor. If you don't train your youth to do what you're doing right now, it ain't gonna be nobody to replace you.
Well, that's what I believe in doing. That's why I do what I do. That's why I'm an educator. That's why I'm a pastor, because I believe that our future is not tomorrow. Our future is today. We can honor our legends. We can honor our legacy. We can honor our elders. You and I are only persons about to be elders. I mean, we hate to say it. I'm 57.
Oh no, I'm already there. You still got a little ways to go.
Right.
I'm already there.
Right. We can honor it, but if we don't invest in the 16, 15, 14, 13-year-olds, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21-year-olds, and help them become who we are, we won't have a future. So Juneteenth is not just about remembering that we were set free. It's about what are we going to do to stay free.
Pastor,
I don't want to preach tonight, but
no, I want to have a discussion with you. I'm glad you brought that up when you finish.
June 19th is Friday. That's why I wanted to bring up, Dixon. Dowling Street in 3rd Ward used to be called Dowling, now it's called Emancipation Street. Emancipation Park. It's all about.
My grandfather stayed right around the corner from there.
It's all about, not about that we just got out of slavery, but because they're trying to bring us back into the system that's like slavery. Bring us back into being sub-citizens, back into us serving the master's society. In the evangelical Christians, the fundamental religion, the Anglo-Americans society want us to be less than. And people like Reverend Dixon and people that like to bless the memory of George Nelson Jr. and his dad, George Nelson Sr. People like Mr. Murders Dykeman Sr. and his Murders Dykeman Jr. in that arena. People who have served in other areas of our community. There have been leaders, Reverend Lawson and Bill
Sylvester
Lawson,
Turner,
Sylvester Turner,
Barbara Jordan, Mickey Leland.
Mickey Leland, even like people like the young man that's no longer on KPRC too, but he started real young. He still is out there using Facebook as the you know what I'm talking about, the anchor that served the 4 or 5 different things on Channel 2. He looks young for his age, but he's not. He's already 70-something. You know what I'm talking about. He wears a bow tie all the time.
I might know who you're talking about, but I don't watch Channel 2 News. I'm on Channel 13 person. Shanika McKnight.
Right. But it's on the tip of my tongue, man. Those people have laid a foundation, have opened up the doors, have been pioneers. And what you and I are trying to do, we're trying to be the bridge. What Bear and Glass is trying to do is be a bridge from that point to what behind us, that we can cause Juneteenth to be alive every day, not just on June 19th.
Absolutely.
The Juneteenth be alive in every way, not just about slavery. The Juneteenth could be real to us, that we no longer have to worry about what the man is doing to us, but what we gonna do for ourselves.
Absolutely. You know, Pastor, there's 2 things I want. You called out a couple of names, but I want to call out another one. Reverend Leo Daniels out of Houston too.
Yes, sir.
Leo Daniels did something that it was just recalled to me, and the real reason why it was recalled to me was because Leo Daniels was one of the first people to build a high-rise, and it was built by the church for the older members of his church. It's still there on Jensen Drive. If you go over there right now, it's still there. He was one of the first ones to build for his members, for not just for his members, for older people,
right,
to have a place to live. You know, when you think about early entrepreneurship and stuff like that in Houston, I know he has a name that's out there, and most people can identify with him. And he had some problems. I ain't saying he's perfect, but he had some problems.
Yes, sir.
Think about Kirby John out there on the Southwest side. He's one of the people that put in time and develop a small community out there and put people in there in the houses that the builder, he worked out a deal with the builders, and it didn't have anything to do with the rest of the stuff. But you have to identify what a person had, where they put in the effort to do stuff to make this a better place. And I don't want to ever take that for granted. But here's the conversation I want I want to get your attention on, Pastor.
Yes, sir.
Did a show yesterday called Spiritual Amnesia.
Wow. Boy, you didn't invite me to that. You didn't invite me to that.
Oh, it was out there.
You should
But
invite me.
here's the what got me there. Because I see our youth, and it was a guy, we was having a conversation in the barbershop, and the guy said, you know, I'm like an airplane. I don't go backward. Only direction I know is I move forward. I'm not worried about the history. I was bringing up the history of Dr. Martin Luther King, trying to tie all that in to the voting process and all the rest of that. And he didn't want, he said, oh, no. These people said, no, I'm not worried about all that history. I don't want to know none of that. Mm-hmm. And it kind of got me to a point, because what it's saying is that these youngsters have spiritual amnesia because they don't want to identify for the people that pray for them to get where they're at. Mm-hmm. They don't want to remember any of that. They just think that they got this forward direction that they can continue to move in without looking back. They don't want you to see the mistakes that they made. They don't want you to identify with where they're at. They don't want you to know that, remember when they stole your money when you was younger. They don't want you to remember that. They just want you to look at where they're at right now. Yeah. They don't want you to remember that they borrowed money. They don't want you to remember that they hit you upside your head and took something from you. They don't want you to remember none of that. They don't want you to remember that they went to jail or anything like that. But they want you to remember where they are right now. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I say that I call it spiritual amnesia, because if you treat God the same way, that's spiritual amnesia. Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Am I right or wrong?
You're right. You can't erase where you come from. You got to build on what happened to you for your future. Mm-hmm. Now, the Bible says, forgetting the things that are behind, reaching for ahead. But because you forgot about forgetting, which means you're going to leave it behind you to become better, but you can't discount what you went through. Mm-hmm. You can't act like that you're better than somebody else. In other words, I put it like this. You can't graduate from the school, then tear it down. You can't cross a bridge, then burn it down. You can't become better than you used to be, then act like everybody where you used to be is worse than you. You've got to build on that for your future. And the guy that I was talking about from Channel 2 News is called Kimbrell Marshall.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember the name.
Kimbrell Marshall, man, was a pioneer. He's a pioneer that did some shaking around Houston. Those people have left a footprint. They've left a footprint. They've given us a blueprint. Come on. Mm-hmm. Our job to see a vision to do something greater. Mm-hmm.
I think that if we don't understand where our youth has taken us, where they're at right now, Pastor, we're gonna lose it. I mean, we're gonna lose it big time, because our youth don't have the same focus that we do. Yes, sir. Because their parents are not going there, because their parents are not giving them that. Their parents are basically saying, you know what? You're on your own. But then when they're on the airplane and they just continue to look forward, that means that they're not remembering. I'm going to say, I brought you the thing up to the stage. I'm going to remove it and bring it back up, Pastor. I'm going to bring it back up. I got it now.
Right.
Not too long ago, people stood in unmovable lines. They had to pass a so-called literacy test, pay a poll tax. On one occasion, a man was asked to count the number of bubbles in a bar of soap. On another occasion, one was asked to count the jelly beans in a jar, all to keep them from casting their ballot. Today, it is unbelievable that, my dear friends, your vote is precious.
Let me just say, that was John Lewis.
Yes, sir.
He was part of the Pettus Bridge situation that happened when
they beat him. They beat him in head they beat him to the white meat till his head
They
bled.
beat him to the white meat, and they put dogs on him, they put water on him, and everything else. And if you can't relate to that history of the sacrifices that people made, or you don't want to do it, you're doomed to repeat it. You're doomed to repeat it. So, Pastor, we're coming up on the time. I want to let you get it, show this, and then I got one more thing I'm gonna bring up. I'm gonna remove some stuff from the stage while you talking.
Yes, sir. So when I was growing up in a small town in Louisiana, Benton, Louisiana, to be specific, when the graduates graduated from high school, they had what you call a baccalaureate service. And what it was, one of the churches in town, usually a Baptist church in town. Of course, I was from what you call sanctified church or holiness church, but we were able to fellowship with the Baptist churches back then. You know, as I became older, I became non-denominational. I fellowship with all backgrounds to call on the name of Jesus. But back then, that was as a high school student, it was very nice to be able to go to another church. They have what you call a baccalaureate service in which they honored the graduates that year. You came, you wore your cap and gown to the service. Some of the graduates was involved in the service, either singing or reading scripture, getting involved. They gave us certificates and everything. And we would hear a sermon, and they would have refreshments. And we felt like that we were being honored by our community for graduating, that we accomplished something. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, our communities don't do this. Like now, there are churches that do this, but I haven't, seen it. Maybe it's not publicized as much as I think it ought to be, or maybe my circles of people I fellowship with, I haven't seen a lot of it. But in United Covenant Hope, this is the first time we're trying to grow our youth. We're trying to grow our youth. I've been there since October 2022, so we're trying to get more youth involved. And one of our first youth that involved in our church are graduating this year. And that youth has friends. We have other youth that have become involved in the church besides that youth that started coming over the last 2 or 3 years. And so we're going to honor 7 of our youth. Not a big number, but 7 of our youth graduating this year, or youth that we know that graduating this year. Those that will be in attendance, be in cap and gown. We're giving them a Bible engraved with their names on it as a certificate for the church. If we don't invest in them, somebody will. We're raising the offering. People are giving the offering to our young folk. And the church will be giving, we'll be giving it. And we're going to have a service, and I'm going to be able to preach a sermon that hope to impact their lives. We're going to have food afterwards. We're going to celebrate and eat with them. 11 o'clock this Sunday morning, 6555 Mason Drive, Houston, Texas, United Covenant Hope Church of God. If you don't want to come or can't come or won't be able to come but want to still contribute, you can give to our Zelle, 346-516-7726. 346-516-7726. Put in the memo of your Zelle giving, this is for the graduates celebration this Sunday. And I guarantee you, we'll make sure we're going to split this evenly among those graduates. We're going to be giving them a certain amount, and anything else everybody add to, we're going to split evenly among them. Won't be much, it's not scholarships. It's just a token, a gift of trying to invest in their lives. Let them know that we believed in them. They brought the children of Jesus. Jesus laid on his hands on them and blessed them. And now we bless little babies. We bless children. How many of us bless the graduates as they embark commencement, start a new life, a new world?
Yeah, Pastor, that's a good thing. I'm glad that you brought that up, because I was texted in the background by one of my coworkers, and they was telling me, my ex-coworkers, and they was telling me that they had something. And I what did you call it, Pastor? What did you call it?
Baccalaureate, the baccalaureate service growing up.
Okay, that's the word that she used in her area, but she said that the businesses within the community, when they did that, would come together and give money to the graduates at that time. So she was basically saying the same thing that you was saying, but I just wanted to make sure that got out there. So let me I want to do this real quick, Pastor. I'm gonna bring myself and you back to the stage before we get out of here. I just want to say a couple of things. You heard me talking about spiritual amnesia that I did yesterday. This tomorrow, I'm gonna do a show on why Black parents carry a different burden than normal other people, especially when it comes to sports and our kids, and how we react and the things that we allow to affect us when we go to these different games. We are what we stop to realize is that we are a reflection of a group of people that's out there. And if you keep carrying yourself in the way that you've been carrying yourself, it doesn't set a good picture. Because even your kids that's out there playing sports, it makes them go about a different thing. And one of the things that brought me up was this Carmelo Anthony case that's going on right there in the media. This young man that stabbed the other young man. And we as Black people and parents, we carry a different burden. We should prepare our kids a little bit different because they go into environments that they normally wouldn't have to go into, that they wouldn't have to change who they were. But because they're elite athletes and they're out there participating in sports, we need to have a different conversation. And that's the conversation that I'm going to try to have tomorrow at 1 o'clock. If you have time, tune in. If you don't, go back and listen to it, because it's even another guy by the name of Mickey Williams, one of the greatest basketball players that was out there. He got in trouble over a gun charge.
Yeah.
He was making money when he was in school, in high school. He made more money than some of the people that sit on the benches of National Basketball League. So I'm just saying, we got to do something different if we plan on still having our kids participate in those sports. So that's what the show is about tomorrow. Pastor, I'm gonna give it to you, let you get us out of here. We've run it up on not necessarily time. Byron Glass is at a revival.
Yeah, Byron Glass at a revival. Man, we haven't y'all. We churching down this week. Spiritual amnesia revival. We're giving.
He's at a revival. I texted him, Pastor, and he said his pastor. And I don't know if you ever heard of him. Yearby, Yearby. That's the pastor that's doing the revival tonight. So I want to make sure that if you're down there in Byron Glass area, make sure you attend the revival that's going on this week. Where's that area, Pastor? You going to
Texas. Columbia, Louisiana. I'm sorry. Let me say it again. Columbia, Louisiana, about 30 miles south of Monroe, Louisiana, off 165. Columbia, Louisiana. Or it might be in Monroe. It may be in Monroe. You may be going to church in Monroe, Louisiana, which is.
I don't know, but I know that that's the reason why you couldn't be here tonight. Yeah. So, Pastor, I know we didn't say it a lot, but I'm gonna let you go ahead and close us out.
Hey, throw my thing up for tomorrow night if you don't mind.
Oh yeah. While you talking, I'm gonna bring it up.
You're slipping in the game, brother. Anyway, though,
I'm slipping. I'm slipping. I got to get the right one.
I appreciate you, Ryan. Hope you can make it out Sunday.
That's the graduates. That's the
I hope you can make it out Sunday.
I might try to, Pastor. I might try to. Let me bring. Oh no, I can't bring that one. You say I can't show that one.
Oh, let's see.
Go ahead, Pastor. I'm gonna get.
What is it? You're trying to show the one with the bishop stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to reach a younger crowd. So
no. That's not the one I was trying to show. The one I almost showed was the one with the other address, because it's not. It don't allow me to blow up the picture. My eyesight ain't as good as it used to be.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to.
Yeah, but while Ron is bringing it up,
I'm gonna bring this up anyway, because
we're glad that every Tuesday night we can get involved in taking what Sunday morning is all about and making it reach the community on Tuesday night.
Just gonna have to correct you, Pastor.
There's a song that Tasha Cobbs and John Legend has out. Church on a Monday. Teach me how to have church on a Monday. I'm saying teach us how to have church on a Tuesday night. Anyway, this is the Bible study Wednesday nights. We actually don't meet at the church location. We do it on Zoom, which is not on Zoom. Yes, on Zoom with the church and with Sugarland Church of God. But for you all here on YouTube, you can catch us on Facebook Live, Aquila Fernell Riggins page, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Around about 7:05, we come on. Once everybody come on to the Zoom, we're studying the book of Matthew. Hope you're ready to come out to our Wednesday night Bible study. We thank God for this platform. I thank God for Ron Spikes and for Baron Glass. Thank God for the audience. People all the way from New Orleans, people out in California, people out on the East Coast, Virginia area, folk in Texas, Louisiana, everyone that come out and support this podcast. We're trying to impact our community, our city, and our world. Father, lead this platform without your presence. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. I just want to say Tracy Riley was supposed to come on. She had an invite to come on. But if you know Tracy and them, they always busy. They got something that was planned or something like that. And we just told you that Byron Glass had some revival going on in his area. So he wasn't on tonight. So I just want to tell you, Pastor, I really appreciate you coming on. We had a good discussion. And I'm not I'm not getting into Jasmine Crockett no more. I'm done. I'm done with that discussion about Jasmine Crockett on this platform.
Yes, I understand.
I didn't say on my other one, but I just want to say, you know what? I got to end this like, thank God, thank God, thank God. I always say it like that when I end this platform. And you're invited to join me tomorrow. Again, it's called Why Black Parents Carry a Different Burden. Please tune in or listen in. And hey, thank you. Good night, everybody. Take care.
Good night.